What's going on, everybody? Welcome into another edition, another episode of HBCU Huddle. You got me, CJ Hurt, joined by Mike Wallace. As always, Mike, how's everything going, man?
Man, everything is splendid. You know, we're here. Labor Day weekend is behind us now, or look right here, and then right after that, it's the biggest game of the year coming up, man. Southern Heritage Classic. We know what these classics are all about, and this is the biggest one on the stage right now, man. So I'm looking forward to talking more about it and getting you caught up on all of the HBCU coverage and everything going on across the landscape.
Absolutely, and there are a lot of things to talk about when you look at last week's situation at Florida A&M. You're looking at the games that were played, FAMU and the SWAC-MEAC kickoff. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about all of those. We're also going to look ahead to this week's game. But, Mike, you said it, biggest game of the year is almost here. We are pleased to be joined by the founder of the Southern Heritage Classic, Fred Jones. Fred, how's everything going, man?
Everything's going great.
Thank you so much for joining us. First off, listen, it's been a wild couple of years, especially from a live sports, a live entertainment standpoint. But it seems like everything is back. It seems like the parade is going to be back for the Classic. I think the college fair, the concert, it seems like we're back out here doing some things. What's the schedule going to be like for this year's week of events?
Well, we start on Thursday, the 8th. Of course, the game is through on Saturday. You can get all the information on the game at southernheritageclassic.com. We anticipating a tremendous year. Everything is going really well. All the indicators say that we're going to do well, and so we're looking forward to it.
Mr. Jones, when you look at, and we had you on 3-4 months ago, when everything was coming back together, worked out, you know, a little bit of an issue with Jackson State there and looking at the future of the Classic and those kind of things. And right then, you were saying, hey, get in line. The tickets are going to go on sale soon. The tailgating sold out 4 months in advance, basically, and all the excitement and energy that was around even back then. Now that you're a couple of days away from actual seeing everything coming to fruition, what is your mentality like? Do you get nervous? Do you get that butterfly in your stomach? I mean, you've been doing it for years. I know you've been doing it for years, but every year has to seem like it's a new experience.
Man, you know, we've heard this from the greatest of sports players, that they always get a little butterfly.
Yeah.
It never goes away because you're planning for us for a whole year. Every day comes down to the last couple of days, and you want everything to be right. But sometimes things just kind of go a little awry, and so that's when the fun starts. But, you know, with the anticipation that we have for this event, it's just absolutely tremendous, just absolutely tremendous. So it makes you keep your chest up and smile on your face and walk a little faster. Because, you know, you're doing something that people really want, they really like, and they really want to support.
One of the new thing, well, it's not new, but it is back, is the golf showcase, the golf tournament, I guess, that you guys do on Thursday. It was announced today that Penny Hardaway's throwing his name on it, and so I want to make sure I get this name right. It is now the Penny Hardaway Memphis Golf Classic. How did that come about?
It came about with Charles Ewan and the first district, a group of ministers. They wanted to take over the golf tournament, which we needed to do that because it's so many things. And one thing that we found with these events, if you have someone that's in it 24/7, it makes the difference. Mm-hmm. And when he got involved, Penny is a friend of all of us. We play golf together, and he told Charles and the group that he would be involved in it, and it's made a big difference.
And it's great because we've seen Coach Hardaway last year, Mike. We talked about it, putting on the exhibition games and getting HBCUs here in FedEx Forum to play so that they could get some money. It's great to continue to see Coach Penny Hardaway reach out and give back to HBCUs and to the Memphis community at large.
Oh, no question about it, CJ. And also for him to be involved in, I believe, the coaches' luncheon too, as sort of an MC and hosting. So, okay, you had a little laugh at that one.
Well,
There's some insight to that.
You know, Yeah, you know Penny. I've known Penny for absolute long time, and I call him up and I say, we want you to be the special guest speaker at the luncheon. He said, okay. It was like,
I mean, that was it. You just called in the favor, like, hey, I need your help,
it was just that. He said, he'd ask me any other questions, and I sent him the information and what have you, and I've talked to him, I guess, about 7, 8 days ago, just to touch base, but he was ready to go. He was ready to go, and I think he's always been a supporter of me and the things that I've done over the years, and to be a part of the Classic. And I told him some of the people like Fred Smith, Pitt Hyde, the mayor of Memphis, they have been speakers at the luncheon. So, and also we had Tyler Perry one year. So,
headliners.
Yeah.
We're not surprised. We're
right,
not surprised.
but Penny is a headline.
Right.
Okay, so it was just great, but it was just that easy. One friend talking to another.
We're speaking to on the huddle right here. Obviously, it's one of those special podcast segments when we
and
get
Mike,
a chance.
it's so special that we've got visual also. We
do.
usually don't never do visual. It's usually strictly audio. But we said we got Fred Jones coming in studio. Somebody get the camera set up. Get him ready, baby.
That's what I'm saying. I'm looking in the camera. All I want to do is look to my left right here. I have to look into the camera because I got to be TV specific on this one. But when you think about all that this Classic has meant to Memphis, to the Mid-South region, a lot of these classics sort of come and go. I mean, we know the stalwarts, the Bayou Classic, the Orange Blossom Classic has been there and come and gone, obviously, a little bit. A couple of other classics throughout the South, but this has been one that for 35, 36 years has been consistent, has grown every single year, has added different elements. And when you look at that process over these 3-4 decades, Mr. Jones, what does that say about the staying power of the Southern Heritage Classic? And how tough is it to have a classic to have that kind of staying power over 4 decades?
Well, the goal in the beginning was to create something that had legs, that had longevity.
Yeah.
And you go through, in the beginning, nobody really felt that we could get it done. I was involved in the pursuit of the Grizzlies come here, and nobody really believed that we could do what we ended up doing, bringing the team here, building a new FedEx Forum, all of that had to happen. Nobody, oh, no, we can't do that in Memphis. But, to be able to do that with the Classic, and it's stayed around and it's still strong. That's the beauty of all of this. It's not something that's kind of hanging on, for, this is going to be the last year, this is going to be, it just held its own really well. And that was the idea, was to create something with these two schools, Jackson State and Tennessee State, and that glue became the Southern Heritage Classic.
Every year, the Southern Heritage Classic is the premier, if not one of the premier sporting events in the city. When you talk about not just energy and fan engagement and involvement, we're talking about dollars spent in the city. We're talking about fan turnout in the stadium and outside at the tailgate. What does that do for you, Mr. Jones, when you see year in, year out the staying power of the Southern Heritage Classic, and you see, oh my gosh, we brought in this many dollars to the city?
Well, I'm a logistical guy. I mean, you have to worry about the money because you got to pay the bills, okay? But it's not overly concerned about that. My team's concern is to have the greatest presentation each year that we possibly can. In spite of whatever might come up at the 11th hour, if we have a good presentation, it'll take care of itself. It takes care of the money. It takes care of the loyalty. It takes care of all of that when you have a good presentation. And that's why it was important every year that we work hard to ensure that our presentation is on point so that people will be, they'll look forward to it because they know that it's going to be done. And it's going to be done right.
Mr. Jones, when you look at, and to CJ's point, you put in so much work. Your staff does so much work, and it's one game over the course of the second weekend in September, but a lot of people don't understand what goes in year-round to make this event, this weekend, and this game so spectacular. Are you once the game gets here, once we get to that Saturday, 4, 5, 6 o'clock, are you able to take a moment and just relax and enjoy? I didn't even have to finish the question.
Yes.
Well,
So,
in the words of the great Yogi Bear, it ain't over till it's over.
I love it. So Mr. Jones,
I can't see the. I can't see the. I'm outside. I'm on a headset. I'm talking to the staff members. I'm listening to them really, and I always have to ask, where are we? First quarter, second quarter. What's the score? All of that kind of thing. But you're always working until it's over, and because just from your experience, how many things that can go wrong that you have no control over, but you got to be vigilant because it's D-Day. You can't move it to another day, another time. So like you do on a computer, you go and delete it and put something else. Doesn't work. So you got to be on point for whatever might come up, and believe me, Murphy's Law happens. What can go wrong sometime will, but that's why you got to have a great team. And I've had people that's been with me for 33 years. They understand what we are trying to do and the challenges and how you have to stay on point.
Mr. Jones, Jackson, Mississippi is going through a water crisis right now. Have you heard anything from Jackson State? Have you reached out to them at all about anything that they are going through down there?
Well, just from the news, I mean, it's more in the news now. It's something that, with the water situation, has been going on for a while. They got infrastructure issues, but it's kind of risen to a whole nother level now, especially when they had the flood. So we haven't. I talked to Jackson State, my point person, yesterday. They're preparing to go to Miami for Florida A&M this week, so that's their focus. And as far as what we're doing on this end, we just preparing as usual. Okay. And again, if we have to pivot and make an adjustment, we will.
How often do you talk to the representatives, your connections at Jackson State and Tennessee State? Especially leading up to the event.
Well, leading up to it, it's always something. When you do these events, it's always something. Just the smallest of things, passes, credentials, scheduling, what time is practice, can we get more time? All of those things come up, so you have to be ready for it. It's just, and being that, again, having a team that have been there before, it makes, nobody gets really excited, and that's why we know that, when people say to you, oh man, you've been doing it a long time, you don't have to worry about it. You have to worry about everything all the time. You don't get consumed by it. Somebody say, oh, Fred, you don't seem to be too excited. Well,
see that heartbeat in your chest.
Because, and you got to be ready. And not that you anticipating something happening, but you got to be ready to deal with it when it does happen. And not be, oh my God, why is this happening? Okay, now it's like, okay, what are we gonna do? How are we gonna fix this? And it could be, it sometimes could be something as simple as, this might sound funny, where's the football? And I'm listening to it on the headset. What you mean, where's the football? It happens.
It does. And the thing is, most fans, most most of the teams and the players and everyone involved don't get to see those nuances that go into every single detail that you have to, every I you have to dot, every T you have to cross. One thing that we won't have to worry about is the marquee attraction of these two teams. Tennessee State goes out to Eastern Washington this week for their season opener against a ranked, top 15 ranked team in the FCS. Jackson State, as you mentioned, Mr. Jones, goes down to Miami to play Florida A&M in the Orange Blossom Classic. That game can define their season. The Eastern Washington game is an opportunity for Tennessee State and Eddie George. So when you look at both of these teams and these programs and these fan bases coming off of a big-time opportunity only to converge in Memphis, where it's going to be even bigger, do you get sort of charged up when you see the stakes being like this for these two teams at this state?
Where it's always been like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is a natural rivalry. Sometimes you play a game and say, "Oh, it's a rivalry now."
Mm-hmm.
Well, this has been going on even when John Merritt left Jackson State, took a lot of the staff and went to Tennessee State and became a bigger legend. It's always been that. So it's always been a big game. And so happens, it happens in Memphis, which is 200 miles from either state capital. It was always built the right way, So I always compared it to when Georgia and Florida played in Jacksonville.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they tried to move that game. They talked about moving it back to the campus.
Right.
Oh, man, it was like, wait a minute. No.
Because fans enjoy traveling. They do. They enjoy getting out. I know people, Jackson and Nashville, they enjoy coming to Memphis, hanging out, and having some fun, man.
Right. Well, again, that's what we wanted to do, to have something that would be for people to do.
Mm-hmm.
But the beauty of it all is, when you talk about Memphis, we got a music heritage.
Mm-hmm.
We got something that the world doesn't have, is Beale Street.
Mm-hmm.
When you go anywhere in the world and say Beale Street, they know you're talking about Memphis, Tennessee. And regardless of what people say, they talk about Texas and North Carolina and all that. The best barbecue in the world, I said it, in the world, is in Memphis, Tennessee. Everybody else is a distant second and third and on down the line.
Yeah.
So we have something that's naturally there, and it's all we need to do is plug into it, and that's what we've been able to do with the Classic.
Mr. Jones, we could talk to you all day. I told you before the show I was going to try and keep you at 12 minutes. We blew past that.
Yeah, we're gonna get him out of here.
We're way over that.
I got one last. If he can.
No, let's do what you have to do.
I got one last one, and then I'll let CJ wrap us up here. I've always wanted to ask you this ever since I moved to Memphis in 2016, and I know the Classic. I've been to the Classic for years. I was at the Classic. I'm a Grambling alum. I was at the Classic the year when Grambling got in there and played, and one of the few years or the rare years when it wasn't Tennessee State,
right.
Jackson State. So I go back that far with it. But one thing that's always intrigued me about your background, sir, is that the Isaac Hayes connection. Can you give me a fun story from what it was like being on the road, managing an icon like Isaac Hayes? Before there was the Classic, there was Isaac Hayes representing Memphis. And you were involved in that too. So give me one story about, please, about what it was like being on the road with Isaac Hayes doing his heyday.
Well, the first thing is that what happened on the road stays on the road.
Yeah!
That's the first thing.
Yeah, it does.
But when I think about Isaac, and especially when the Academy Award comes around.
Yes.
I remember we started in December of 71. I started working for Isaac full-time in August of 71. And we were together every day, all the interviews, back and forth to L.A., all the screenings and all that. But it came down to the Academy Awards. Isaac was up for 2 awards. He didn't win. Michel Legrand, I think if I pronounce his name correct, won one award. So we all downstairs in the basement of the Dottie Chandler Pavilion. And man, they had a big production number and all this dancers and what have you were downstairs. Now, can you imagine in this room, no noise? None. It was just none. And ladies and gentlemen, Oscar, Isaac Hayes, the roof, the ceiling felt like your eardrums are gonna burst. It was so loud, and I remember that, and it was just a great feeling, a great accomplishment to watch Isaac, a guy from the South, from Memphis, born in Covington, to go to the pinnacle. I mean, it was great, and to be there and be a part of that team and the work that we had to put in, because we would go to screenings. Nobody really didn't know who Isaac was. They really didn't. But that moment when he won that Academy Award, oh man, that was a great feeling. And knowing that we had pulled it off.
And it sounded like that moment not only uplifted Isaac and his team, but it uplifted this whole city and this whole region. And I wanted you to share a story like that because it also reminds me how this classic and everything that goes into putting that production on uplift this entire city. And the one common denominator between those two things has been your imprint. And so from the HBCU Huddle and Grind City Media and everything we do over here, we sincerely thank you for your time and your commitment, your dedication, sleepless nights, you know what I mean, all the things that go into it, and even the heartbeat.
I got one thing that I've really been blessed with. Regardless of how bad it gets, I don't lose sleep. I will go to sleep. I wake up the next morning and get back at it.
Okay.
But it will not say, well, I got a restless night, or I couldn't go to sleep, and I'm worried about. I will go to sleep, and I say that's a blessing because a lot of people can't do that. Right. That stress will get them, and what you're trying to do, because you want to be successful. At the end of the day, whether it was Isaac Hayes in the pursuit of the Oscar, whether it was the Southern Heritage Classic, what we were doing with that, whether it was the Memphis Grizzlies, what we were doing with that, it was a challenge, and you had your heart and soul in it. It wasn't. This is home for me. I was a little boy. I'm right where we are. I used to walk down through here, walk to Beale Street, walk to the park down the street, walk from the Clavin homes, all through here, and to do something like Isaac, like the Classic, like the Grizzlies in your hometown, it doesn't get any better than that. It doesn't get any better. When you walk out, man, and people are, especially the people that you've known for a really long time, man, they feeling really good about what's going on. So long as you can keep, somebody asked me, what's the proudest moment for the Classic? When I can see smiles on people's faces, man, they having a good time. They with their family, with their friends, they with their sorority sisters and sorority sisters and fraternity brothers, and you know that they got that smile because of what is happening with the Southern Heritage Classic. That's a precious moment.
Absolutely, it is. Mr. Jones, we could talk to you for hours, but we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. Everybody, what's the website again, Mr. Jones? Where can they go to get more information on the Southern Heritage Classic?
SouthernHeritageClassic.com. It has everything there. SouthernHeritageClassic.com. Whatever you need. Don't call looking for a tailgate spot.
That went first. That went months ago.
They're gone.
First, 1 hour, they were all gone. But I got to tell you this quick story. I never got to go. We were right across the street from Handy Park. And when I was people didn't know this, some people didn't know this until this week, that I used to be in the band at Booker T. Washington High School. I was a trombone player. And we used to march down Beale Street. And when we got to Handy Park, where the viewing section was, it would be so many people. We had to go single file to get past Hanley Park on Beale Street. And for me, again, to be able to capture a moment like that with the parade in Orange Mound is very special because it's personal. I've been through that. We created something that personally affects me, but it also affects other people as well. So I just said that was a moment I thought about since we're here, and it's really a special moment. The Classic is a special moment for me and for the people of this community.
Absolutely, and I'm a sucker for a good parade. That's why I bought my house mic right off the parade route, baby. Right there.
You said trombone or trumpet?
Trombone player.
Trombone. Oh, we got to get you. Hey, we can find you a trombone. You ready to go over there
No,
now?
man. I'm like an aging ball player, man. It's a distant memory.
I got you.
I remember what. I can remember some of the notes, and I probably chops not that good. So.
That's Fred Jones, founder of the Southern Heritage Classic. Mr. Jones, thank you so much for making time and joining us today. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you, and thank you for what you do for all HBCUs. Thank you.